this is a half-hour session. It might go on slightly longer than that, hopefully not, covering the team admin or team contact process within GMS, hopefully to give people a bit more of an insight around how the system works in preparation for this week coming, week after for the West League, or to cover off some stuff from this weekend just gone for Yorkshire North East, who have already started the league. Yeah, it looks like we're probably slowing down. So good evening. My name is Steve Tabb. I'm the Steve that's been responding to most of the support emails that have been coming in, and that's probably a good place to start. If you have any questions around anything at all to do with GMS, do message GMS support. So the email address is gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk. We are pretty good at turning emails round. There's an auto response set up on it that does answer some queries, but we also tend to get back to emails within a few hours. If not, we try and do it within 24 hours. So this is one of a number of sessions that we're running. Already run one on club admin, which was a bit more in depth. That was an hour long. So this one is the team contacts one, and then we're running a couple of others as well. The team contacts, team admin session, this is basically for those people who are going to be, I guess, acting as team captains, team managers, people that will need to be filling in team sheets, recording scores, that kind of thing, come weekend games. I will try and answer questions, but if you can wait to ask questions a little bit before you start typing anything in, just because I might cover off some of the things you're going to ask later on as we go through. I'm hoping I will only be presenting for about 15-20 minutes, and then that will give plenty of time to answer questions when it comes to the end of it. So without any further ado, I will stop my camera and I'll share my screen. So to start with, I just thought it would be worthwhile making sure that everybody knows how to get into the system, which is gms.englandhockey.co.uk. Was flagged up that one of the guides that's on the England Hockey website starts with www.gms.englandhockey.co.uk. That won't work, so please don't use the www. We do have guides that support the team admins, the managers, captains, etc. They're available on the England Hockey website. If you go to englandhockey.co.uk and you search along the top for deliver, and then under deliver there is game management system, and then you can see the support guides that are there for team admins to use. That will provide screenshots and cover off a lot of the detail that I'm just about to run through, but those are much better than anything actually held within the support hub within the system. So very briefly, the system is the way it is because of the fact that we only had a few months between the AGM approving the 8 areas going live and needing to deliver a system last year, so that one was live and ready for clubs to use at the start of last season. There were some issues, we know, with the initial player registration, but by sort of early parts of November, mid-November, that was all working, and so player registration has been working ever since then. And 2 areas did use the system pretty much for all their at least top level games and a lot lower level games in terms of team sheets, score entry, tables, etc. So the system has been working since then. We know it could work better, we know it could work smoother. We are working on those things, but ultimately we didn't have time to build a brand new system, so we had to take a system that was built historically and amend it slightly so that we could add on player registration and the elements that are required for the GMS part of this, as opposed to it just being an umpire appointment system, which is what it was historically. So that explains why when you log in, it moves from gms.englandhockey.co.uk to who's the umpire. So who's the umpire is the core system, but GMS is different. GMS has a different front end, and when you log in, it does different things to process your permissions and all that kind of stuff. So anybody who's got a historical who's the umpire login, please don't use, sorry, not login, who's the umpire URL, please don't use it. You always go to gms.englandhockey.co.uk. We know a few people have had challenges with logging in and with registering. This afternoon, we know that the system was performing very badly. So there's been a lot of work done to reset the servers, change a couple of settings on it, and I've just been in the system and it is working a lot better than it was. We don't expect those issues at the weekend, so fingers crossed, everything will be back to normal. But we do know that the system has been running badly this afternoon. So we're at gms.englandhockey.co.uk. Choose to log in. I presume everybody already has a login. If you do have any issues getting yourself registered, go to gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk and we'll support what we can. The first thing to mention about logging in is that this system sits on the overall englandhockey.co.uk domain, which also is the same domain as the club portal, the player pathway, Hockey Hub, etc. If you have a browser that stores passwords, it will store the password against englandhockey.co.uk, not against the separate systems. So if you are saving a password, it may well be that you're saving a password and a login for the wrong platform. So we always encourage people to not use saved passwords. Also, the forms generally don't like autofilled or copied and pasted content. So every time you go to use this system, I would always recommend starting afresh and typing everything in from scratch. Once you've done that, you've clicked this, you've chosen hockey, then you'll see that the login button will activate and you can go into the system. So I am logging in with a club admin login. So this is my club's admin. So you won't have some of these options, but I don't have a team contact one. So I'll try and just explain to you the bits that you will have so that you know what you can access and what you can't. So when you log in, this blue bar won't be here longer term. This is obviously just explaining that the server has been getting restarted this afternoon just to try and fix some of the performance issues. The main thing that you should work off is this dashboard. So on the dashboard, you won't have player transfers because that's a club admin thing, but you will have games, and that's the most important thing for team contacts. So you click on games, and what games will show you is your upcoming fixtures. Let me see if I can just turn off notifications. That's annoying me. Can I do that? I'm not sure. I have to just keep closing those. Because I'm a club admin, this shows me all of the fixtures for my club. As a team contact or a team admin, so I'll explain the term team contact. In the system, it's referred to as team contacts. When we originally started developing the training, developing the content, we always called it team admin. The system calls it team contact. Our references within our training call it team admin. They are exactly the same thing. Anyone who is set up as a team contact is also team admin. They're the same thing, interchangeable. So if you're a team contact, you will only have the fixtures that you can see, and it will only be the upcoming games. So the upcoming, oh, didn't mean to do that. Oh gosh, I really need to turn off these notifications. The upcoming games here will only be those that your team contacts, and they'll be the games for the next 10 days, I believe. If you want to see all your fixtures and your results and your league tables, please don't go into GMS. Use your area website. The area websites are all areaname.englandhockey.co.uk. So the Midlands would be midlands.englandhockey.co.uk. Southwest would be southwest. So there's no southwest. Southeast.englandhockey.co.uk. west.englandhockey.co.uk, The only difference is Yorkshire North East, which is just yne.englandhockey.co.uk. That has much better functionality for viewing your fixtures, viewing your results, viewing your tables, that you can jump around, move between teams, move between fixtures. It's much better than trying to do it in here. Equally, you will only see the upcoming games in here on your dashboard. So these are your upcoming games. In order to access everything to do with the game, you click on the date next to the fixture. When you do that, that will take you through to a screen which shows you the details around that fixture. I've selected one that is against bye, so not really showing a huge amount of detail, but you'll have fixtures, team sheet, and teams. Ignore these icons because they're to do with my admin access. So in here, the fixtures, that just lists the information around the fixture itself. The teams, critically to start with, this is where you get the contact information for those people that you are playing against. This game is against a bye, so you won't see the away team because there is no away team contacts. In your home team contacts, it will list the team contact, so that would be the default person to get in touch with about this game. Then you have club contacts, so they would be, if your team contact doesn't respond, then you go back to club contacts. You'll notice some people have email addresses, some people have phone numbers, some people don't. That is all driven by your personal settings and which bits you've chosen to show and which bits you have chosen as your default email and your default phone. That's all explained in the club admin training, so your club admins can tell you how you need to change that if you want to make your your contacts appear. Most critical thing then, I guess, is the team sheet. The team sheet is driven, if I click on without choosing anything in panel, I can select from every single member of my club. So that's just a list of every single member. If I don't want to choose from 300 players and I want to limit it, then I will select a panel. So let's say this is the Old St Helens 4th team, so this is my club female. Just go away, go away, go away. This is my club female panel that I've chosen. Your panels can be anything you want to call them. They're literally just a collection of names that you choose, which will make your selection of players easier because it will reduce the list of people you're picking from. In order to populate the team sheet, you then just pick a name. Shirt numbers, I'm afraid at the moment you will have to manually type those in each week. We are looking at functionality to populate those from a profile, from a player's profile, so that they always have the same number and it populates. But at the moment, every single week you'll have to populate the shirt numbers. You can then tick to choose if they're the goalkeeper or the captain, and you just keep adding those names in to populate the team. Notice the thing at the top, you must click save at the bottom of the sheet. When you click save, what it does is it transfers this team information across onto the team's page here. Because I didn't click save and I moved between screens, you can now see that I haven't got any names listed. So I must press save if I want to keep the names listed. If you have a home versus away team that are both your same club, when you click on that date, it will show you the home team first. If you want to do the team sheet for the away team, you click switch and that'll switch it over. Then you have to go back onto team sheet and then it will show you the away team. So if you've got inter-club fixtures, that's how you do it. You click the switch and you set the teams up that way. Final thing to remember about, for most people, about team sheets is the umpires. The umpires in here, hang on, I need to reset this. So let's go back. Let's show that's the right thing. No, that's not showing the right thing. Right, give me 1 second. So the umpire list will show those umpires that have registered as EHO members. So as an EHO member, so they do it the same way. They register on GMS. They register as an official. If they're a club umpire, they choose bronze membership. That's a free membership, and it just means they're recorded. That is for anybody that is umpiring any games at all, no matter whether they're qualified, unqualified, whatever. We're collecting that information to see who is umpiring which games. The critical thing there is that depending upon the level of game you're playing at, depends on whether you have to have the umpire listed before the game started, or you could add it after the game started. So if they haven't signed up to the EHO, they won't be available in this drop down of umpires. So they must sign up to the EHO, and then they can be added after fixtures for certain grades of games. You'll need to just check the regulations and speak with your area about when you can add the umpires. If you've got neutrally appointed umpires, you don't need to do this. They'll already be added to that team's list. They'll already be appearing on there. So you go in, you fill this information in, you press save. That's all you have to do before a game. When it comes to the game itself, it gets played. If you want to print off a copy of the team sheet, sorry, by the way, you go to the teams page and there is a print icon or a print button. I'm just getting back to that. It doesn't print it out in a particularly fancy format at the moment. It literally is just a list of players. So you just press print there and it just lists your players just straight out of the system. But if you want to take a team sheet along, it's listed on there. Teams, the opposition teams will be able to see your team sheet, I believe 5 minutes before the game starts on there. If they've got a mobile device, they can view it on there. So you don't necessarily have to have a printed sheet, but you can print it off if you want to. So when it comes to the fixtures itself, we'll go back. So once a game has been played, the system will work out the time the game started, the time it's due to finish, and then here, rather than there being umpires, this would be where the neutrally appointed umpires would be. You'll see none of my club's teams have them. Rather than saying umpire, there'll be a thing that just says enter result. You click on enter result and a box comes up and you fill the score in, 1-0, 2-1, whatever. You can record walkovers. You can record abandoned games. You also put in there the whether there's any red cards, only the number though. So in most games it'll be 0-0, and then you press save and that saves the result. Once you've done that, this screen will then change again and ask you to input match sheet. You click on the match sheet and the match sheet then lists, I obviously can't do it at the moment because I've got no historical fixtures. It lists boxes, separate rows that allow you to record incidents and actions from that game. Each incident action is a tick box. So if somebody has scored 3 goals, they need to be on 3 different rows and tick the goal each time. Either FG, which is field goal, PC, penalty corner, PS, penalty stroke, or cards. So green, yellow, red, and you tick the box against their name. That match sheet will only work if you filled in a team sheet first, because the match sheet populates the drop downs with the names off your team sheet. So if you haven't done that, you can't fill in a match sheet. Your club admins can go in and amend your team sheet after the game if they need to, but that will be recorded and time-stamped so that the competition secretaries will see that you've amended your timesheet after a game. So that will flag up an issue that they can then investigate if they need to. But team sheets need to be populated so you can then complete the match sheet. The match sheet takes time of an activity, the person, which is from a drop down, and then the tick box. The times are not important whether they are 100% accurate or not. In fact, you could even put 1, 2, 3, 4 as the minute if you wanted to. Obviously, National League games, you'll have match officials that will be wanting to record that information correctly, but we're definitely not saying that suddenly your umpires have to record the minute in which something happened. We'd like to know roughly when it was, but ultimately no one is really going to penalise anybody if they just do put 1, 2, 3, 4. What we do ask is you put numbers in those minute columns though, because if you don't, the information doesn't get pulled through correctly onto the next reporting piece for people to look against. But you can put any number you want into the minute field. And then that is about it. You've got your contacts to contact before the game by clicking on the date, going to the fixture. You've got your team sheet to populate the team sheet. You've got your then input score and input match sheet, and that's all you have to do. People ask, umpires don't have anything to do. They might want to just check with the captains about what they're going to record, and then once the information flows through and has been saved, the umpires can check on the area websites to check that they're comfortable that things are being recorded. But at the game itself. They don't actually have anything to sign, anything to process, nothing to tick. It's up to the captains to decide. And obviously, if you see a discrepancy where you think the opposition have got something wrong, you can flag that up with your divisional secretary. They can raise it and they can amend it after the fixture. I'm trying to think what else there might be. If players don't appear in the drop downs, it's maybe because you've selected the wrong panel, or sorry, a player hasn't been allocated to that panel. If they haven't, speak to your club admins, they can allocate them. If they're still not appearing, it might be date related and age related. So some competitions are age related, and you can't pick a 12-year-old in a competition that has a minimum date of 13, for example. If you think they are the right age, drop us an email to gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk and we will look into it and investigate why they're not showing. That's probably it. I'm going to take my screen off now and go back to some questions. Let's see what questions we've got. Feel free to start firing questions if you have any. We've got, all right, we've got loads in, right. Can't see, yeah, sorry, I was on mute to start with. How do we make a panel? So team contacts can't make panels. The club admins will. You can only do that at the point at which you've got new members to approve. So you'll have seen on my screen, there was a members icon. That was because I had new members to approve. If you don't have new members to approve, you can't see the members icon. If you click on the members icon when you have it, you can create new panels at that moment in time. That will show, that will then allow you to list whatever new panels you want and allocate the players to them. But panels are just lists of players. They're just ways to collect players up. You can have players across multiple panels. That's not a problem. It's just how you as a club choose to manage your lists. How soon does the match sheet need to be completed after the game? So that is down to your area regulations. So I don't really want to talk about regulations. This is more about how the system works. Dependent upon the competition you play and depends on when your area is specifying that the match sheet has to be done. My understanding is that the default is that score for most divisions, EHL is slightly different, but most divisions, the score has to be in by 8 p.m. of the day of the match. The match sheet has to be completed by 8 p.m. of the following day. But I know that some areas are flexing that and are providing a little bit more time to allow people to do stuff. And ultimately that time limit, all it does is it removes the ability to input the match sheet for team contacts at that point in time. Club admins could still go in and do it, but again, it'll flag up an exception that a team sheet, match sheet has been completed after a deadline. What do we do with umpires when you're the away team? Okay, yep, so whoever has appointed the umpire is the person that puts the umpires in. So in the main, it's 2 home umpires. So the away team doesn't add any umpires at all because the umpires won't be part of their membership. If you have agreed that an away team is bringing an umpire, and the home team would put 1 umpire in and the away team would put 1 umpire in. So you only put the umpires in if they're members of your club. If you have umpires who umpire for multiple clubs, you need to get them to email officiating@englandhockey.co.uk and say, I am an umpire and I will umpire for Old St Helens Hockey Club, Hampton in Arden Hockey Club, Alton West Warwick Hockey Club, and City of Birmingham Hockey Club. And what we'll do is then make sure that they're listed against all 4 of those clubs so that you can get them on the drop down. What if your team gets shirt numbers on the day? You just fill in the shirt numbers so you can complete the team sheet after a game if you need to, and all that'll do is it'll flag up that you're adding the shirt numbers after the result. So if you don't know your shirt numbers until the day, you can still add the shirt numbers after the game. Same procedure for juniors. Yes, exactly the same procedure for the junior matches that are happening. Yeah, there's no difference. If you're using a player in a game as an umpire in a game before, after, you're going to be populated from member list. So this is my point about the EHO. They have to be a member of the EHO in order to appear in that umpire drop-down list. Now, you might have, as I say, you might have got somebody last minute to come and umpire your game. If you have, you can't list them as the umpire, but what you will need to do is get them to register whenever they can, obviously as soon as possible after the game, to join the EHO, and then you can retrospectively go into the team sheet and add them as an umpire. Or if they're having real issues, just get them to email officiating@englandhockey.co.uk and we will add them. And within, as soon as we get the email, we'll do it within a few hours, and so they'll be available to add on that drop down. What would you do if your umpire is not registered? Well, you won't be able to add them, basically. And then what will happen is you'll have team sheets being recorded with no umpires on, which means your competition, your divisional secretaries will contact you and say, you haven't been registering umpires. How they manage that in terms of regulations is up to them. As I say, I don't want to get into regulations, but the regulations are that you must have 2 officials added to that team sheet, from what I understand as the default. The codes that will appear on match sheet. Okay, so to repeat the codes. So on a match sheet, the tick boxes that will appear, you will have FG for field goal, you'll have PC for penalty corner, you'll have PS for penalty stroke. So those are the 3 goal types. Then you will have green card, so I think it's G, Y, and R for green card, yellow card, and red card. There's then a final column that says VID. I don't really know what that's about, so just ignore it. I think it's to do with if people are loading video clips up, and because this system is used by multiple sports, multiple countries, so some of the functionality isn't necessarily always used by us. So please just ignore that final column. What do you do if your first fixture is showing as a bye against a team that's dropped out of the league? Do you need to submit a team sheet? Again, probably comes down to what the league asks you to do, the area league. Some area leagues will ask you to submit a team sheet to show that you've still got a team that would be playing that day. I know certainly in the Midlands last year, that's what we were asked to do. Still submit a team sheet. Don't submit a result. So you don't have to submit a result, but do submit a team sheet. How can I amend my status from player to team contact or club contact? So that's something your club admin does. So your club admin would go into the teams. So they'd search on teams. They'd find your specific team. On the team page, there's then various tabs, one of which is team contacts. They'd go to team contacts, and in there you can add or remove people to add as the team contacts. There is a screen that lists 1 team contact against a team. That is purely the team contact that's been allocated to that team who registered first. That's it. It doesn't mean they have more rights, less rights than any of the other team contacts. So you could have 5 team contacts, but the one that happens to have their name listed against the team is just the one that registered first out of those team contacts that were added. Can only club admins set up captains? We're having problems. Yes, unfortunately, only club admins can set up captains. If you're having real issues, drop an email to gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk and we can do that for you. So we have a separate way of doing it that we could add in team contacts if you needed us to. Deadlines for submissions of team sheet, confirmation of result, and yeah, so I think I've covered that one already. That is entirely to do with your league itself. You need to contact the league and they will tell you when they expect things to be done, because there's still some flexibility in when they want you to have completed that stuff by. EHL, National League, has very different regs to the lowest level. Equally, some of the areas are choosing slightly different timescales based on the fact that 3 areas didn't use GMS much at all last year. 2 areas went completely full on it. So the 2 areas that completely used it all last season probably going to be more stringent and tight on how people use it this year than others are to start with. I would imagine all the areas will move to a point where they're all sharing exactly the same regulations, but some of the areas might have some more flexibility in the first few weeks whilst teams are getting up and running. But that's only a suggestion. I am not involved in the reg side of things. I am not involved in the element to do with managing how people submit stuff. So this is technical support. I don't really have any say at all in what the regs are. Does a team sheet have to be submitted before a game starts? What if there are late changes? So yeah, so if there are late changes to a team sheet, I would recommend you do your team sheet as early as you can. So do it earlier in the week if possible, purely because we do know that the system does get affected by mass usage. So if you can do your team sheets early, great. If you need to change a team sheet after the game, that might be okay for some of the lower grades of game, because we know that some people drop out. Equally, if people drop out and you just take players off a team sheet, that's fine. What will happen is any changes that are made after a game has occurred to a team sheet are flagged on a report that the competition secretaries see. So you can make changes to team sheets after games. You do it in the same way. You'd click on the date, you'd amend the team sheet, you'd press save. But that is all stored as a post-game event, and it flags up on a report. Next question. Shirt numbers, do these need to be added manually every week? Yes, I'm afraid so. The system doesn't remember them. At the moment, you will have to add them every week. As a team captain, if we don't have the games tab, what do we do? That means you're probably not a team captain. So you would need to contact your club admin and make sure that you are a team contact. If they think you are, then email gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk and we will take a look into it further. Can players be allocated to more than one panel? Absolutely. You can be allocated to 15 panels if you wanted to be. Panels are simply lists of how you collect players together. That's all they are. So yeah, you can have, and the club admin session I did earlier, and it's recorded, will explain to club admins how they manage their members and their members list and their panels. It's done through members, which is a subsection of the club's menu, nothing to do with panels. For those who, which is slightly confusing, but it's don't look at panels when you're looking at GMS. It's a officiating related thing. Can shirt numbers be added after the game? Yes, I see no reason why they couldn't be. Exactly the same as I've said for some of the other things. You can still amend your team sheet after a game. It will be flagged up that that's what you're doing. But if then you're saying, if the report says all you're doing is adding team shirt numbers after a game, I'm sure a divisional secretary won't have an issue with that. Umpires, they need to be registered on GMS for them to appear on the drop down. Yes, absolutely. So they must register for EHO. In terms of covering the registration process, there are only 3 things that you register for, 3 roles you register for: club admin, player, and official. That's it. Club admins, so many people have registered incorrectly for club admins that we're also not automatically approving a club admin. So if somebody has registered as a club admin, email gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk, tell us they've registered. As long as that's coming from an existing club admin or a main committee member of that club, we will then approve it. But that club admin is the highest level. Anyone wanting to be a team contact should just register as a player. That's all they have to do, register as a player, and then their club admins add the additional stuff. To register as an official, you go through and register as an official. If you are multiple things, you must register for each role separately. So if you're a club admin, you still have to register as a player. And it's a bit weird, but you have to register again. You don't go into your profile and change things. And the reason for that is because every time you register for a particular role, it automatically does some stuff in the background to change permissions, to allocate things, to update things. If you were simply just to add something in your profile, it wouldn't do all of those automated things. So you go back to the registration process, use exactly the same email address that you have used for every other registration. When you do that, it links those new roles into the same profile and then will allow you to be a player and an official and a club admin. In terms of approvals, players are approved by club admins. Club admins are approved centrally by England Hockey. EHO are approved centrally by England Hockey. But we do work over the weekends to update those. We do approve those. We will get those approved within a few hours of them being registered. We're obviously very busy at the moment, so it's taking a few hours longer than we would like to, but we are working through all EHO registrations. So if you have gone on and registered for EHO immediately after a game, I would say definitely by Saturday evening, if it's a Saturday game, you will then be available to be added to a team sheet. Home team is providing both umpires. I would be able to enter both. And if each team provides one, the away team enters their own. Correct, yes. So if you're the home team and you've appointed both umpires, you add both umpires to your to the umpire drop downs. If you're the home team, you're only providing one. So I know junior championship regulations, one, the away team provides one, the home team provides one. You just enter the one that you have appointed. The away team enters the one they've appointed. Let's see where we're at. Does a match sheet have to be submitted before a game? So let's get the terminology right. A team sheet should be submitted before a game. A team sheet which lists the players. Again, if you are making amendments or additions or doing a team sheet after the game has started, that will flag up and you will get contacted by your divisional secretaries about it. That's the team sheet. The match sheet, which is the bit that records who scored, which goals, which cards were given, etc. That is done after the game has taken place and after you've input the score. So you do this score first and then you input the match sheet. So the match sheet will always be after the game. The team sheet will always be done, or should always be done, before the game. So I think I've answered the question of what if you've submitted a team pre-match sheet and it changes. So you can still make amendments, but they will just be flagged up that you've changed it. What if the umpire is not yet signed up? Same answer, they must get signed up in order to be added to the match sheet. So you'll have to play the game without them being on the team sheet. You'll have to let the opposition know that they aren't and why they aren't, but then you add them on. Can you amend your team sheet before the match? Upload, yes. So you can upload on Wednesday. You can amend it as many times as you want on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. It doesn't get finalized. It doesn't get closed off. You can make as many amendments as you want to it before the game. Can you not just add the umpire manually? No, I'm afraid you can't. The system doesn't work like that. Apart from adding shirt numbers, can you edit the team sheet after the match if it needs to be? Yes, you can. So you can add players. Again, it will flag up as a post-match exception. If someone has forgotten their login, what is best approach? So players only have to register once. That's it. They never have to do anything ever again. Umpires only have to register once. They never have to do anything ever again. They don't have to log into GMS to do anything. So if they've forgotten their login, it really doesn't matter. If you're a team contact and you've forgotten your login, then if you go to the login screen, there is a reset password option. So you just go there and you log in. If you can't remember your password, you reset your password. Again, try not to use autofill or password savers. Try to type it in each time. Always clear cookies. It's also a cookie reliant system, and they can be impacted by other cookies that are related to an England hockey system, but not GMS. And if you're really, really struggling, drop us an email. However, GMS support cannot reset passwords. We can't do that. So that's in terms of resetting your password, you have to do it through the system. Once you have saved a team sheet, can you amend it pre-match? Yes. Yeah, you've saved it, and you can then just keep saving it if you need to. You need to change it. That's not a problem. I have an account, but I'm not sure what my login is. What would you suggest? So I think I've just gone through that. Your login will always be an email address, and try and use the reset password. And if you're really struggling, then drop an email to gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk. What is the support email again? gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk. As a club, we only have a small number of regular umpires, so expect all club members to take a turn umpiring. So do we have to basically register all club members on EHO? Yes, that may well be a good option. It's free. If you choose the bronze option, it then means every player could be selected at any point. We don't spam people for anything. I think we invite people to an AGM using the EHO database, because once you've signed up as an EHO, you are allowed to attend the area AGM for the EHO. But that's about it. We don't do anything else in terms of spamming people, chasing people up. So if you were to just register every single one of your players as an EHO member, fair enough. Obviously, the bigger clubs won't want to do that. And as I say, EHO registration is a one-off. You do it once, That's it. You never have to do it again. You'll be on there as a bronze member until you tell us to take it off or change it. Team captain, oh, I think that relates to the login question. So the team captain login, then yeah, they would need to use their email, try and reset their password. EHO, yes, you register via GMS. So same page, gms.englandhockey.co.uk, register, select official, select, if it's a club umpire, select bronze membership. If you are wanting to do neutral appointments, then you will need to look at silver or gold membership, because that carries insurance away from any club game. So your club insurance will cover an umpire to umpire any game that includes their club team, even if it's away. They will be covered if they're doing a game that covers that includes one of their club teams. So bronze membership, umpires will be covered by their club insurance if they're doing their own games. If you're doing a game that doesn't have your club teams in, that's when you might need silver if you're only doing a few, or gold, which is what we recommend for people that are doing regular neutral appointments. If you want to see what the benefits and differences between bronze, silver and gold membership are, go onto the England Hockey website, under Deliver, under Officiating, you'll see a section that is called EHO, or England Hockey Officiating Club. Right, we're running out of questions. Happy to answer any more. So somebody's just written thank you. You're very welcome, Joe, and equally thank you to all of you. You are really helping to land this system. I know it's got teething problems. I know that it's not the most usable system in the world. We are genuinely trying to make it better. Unfortunately, there are system functionality bits that are priority, and so the usability bits are not as high a priority as making the system do what it needs to do in order to capture all the information. We promise that it will get better. We promise that we are investing in it, and we are doing as much as we can to make people's lives easier. For those that used it last year, hopefully you'll see some improvements in the team score, in the match results submission, and in the match sheet submission. There's been quite a lot of work's gone into those to make it better. And as I say, if you need any help, drop an email to gms.support@englandhockey.co.uk. Thanks everybody for joining. Hopefully it's been helpful, and hopefully your games all go well this weekend.